Here with the David Dean press conference ahead of the West Florida game. Big matchup, top 10 teams. He'll start off with some comments and then open up for questions.
Well, first off, our thoughts and prayers are obviously with the folks out West Florida. Hopefully they're not getting beat too bad, but definitely in the Panhandle and the Forgotten Coast in there, what they're going through today and tomorrow. Our prayers, our thoughts and prayers are with them, and hope they're all safe and hope everything turns out to be not as bad as what they predict. But, life goes on here. We're preparing for a huge game against the University of West Florida in Pensacola. We're excited about it. Obviously it's another week for us to have a game and another opportunity for us to do the thing that we like to do, and that's play football. So we're excited about it. It's a big Gulf South Conference game against an opponent that we're also tied with for first place in the conference. So there's a lot on the line, obviously, and we're looking forward to making the road trip down there to Pensacola to play in the game.
Coach, given the weather situation now, is everything still on schedule as planned?
The last update I got, everything is still good. I think they're kind of on the outskirts of some of the bad stuff. I think they're still going to get a tremendous amount of rain. I know that they canceled school down there for a couple of days, but from everything that we have heard, everything is still on time. We're still going to play the game at the same time and the same day. There's no cancellation talk, so we're preparing just like it's a normal week. Again, if we find out something a little bit later, obviously we'll make some adjustments to it. But our focus has been this week in preparing just like there is no storm, although in the back of our mind we do know that it is there.
I know West Florida is a familiar foe, so what have you been looking at in film to maybe change the outcome that you didn't want from last year?
Well, hoping that a lot of their guys don't show up, No, they're a very good football team. They got us twice last year at the end of the year, the last game of the season, and then they finished our season in the playoffs a couple of weeks later. They're talented, very, very talented, and you can tell they're well coached. They play hard. Fundamentally, they're sound in all phases, offense, defense, and special teams, loaded with athletes that play hard, and that's a tough combination to prepare for. We've got to go up, and it's like we always say, we put our pants on just like they do. So we're preparing like it's a normal week. We know there's a lot more at stake, obviously, this week, but this is a team that we're going to have to play very, very well. We can't make a lot of mistakes. We can't turn the ball over. We got to be fundamentally sound as well, not have penalties that hurt us, and basically, we don't have to play a perfect game, but we have to play really, really well.
Coach, just the mindset of the guys. Obviously last year was last year, but I'm sure that's still in the back of their mind. But is that something you guys have to bring up much as a coaching staff, or just prepare as normal?
Yeah, we haven't brought it up. We all know what happened last year, and that was last year. This is a new team. They're a new team. We're a new team. We have new players. They have new players. We have a new coaching staff. They're pretty much, their coaching staff has stayed intact, but it's a whole new season, and they're first in the conference, tied with us. We just have to do what we have to do in our preparation, and not worry about what happened last year. And I told the guys when we met on Sunday for the first time, I said you can't have those emotions built up all week, because those emotions aren't going to win the game. What's going to win the game is how we prepare, how we travel, and how we approach our warm-ups, and how we approach the game, and the fundamentals, and the playing hard, and the heart that we carry out onto the field. That's what's going to win the game, not that we want to avenge 2 losses from last year. That's behind us and is pushed behind us, and hopefully our guys have bought into that. I haven't heard them talk a whole lot about what happened last year. Now they're more focused on what do we need to do this week, which is good to see.
And just the excitement level overall of being a top 10 matchup at this point of the season. How are the guys just feeding off that kind of,
Well,
day by day?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, when you have a TV game at this level, it's always an excitement because they realize there's a lot of folks that don't normally have an opportunity to watch them play. They get an opportunity to watch them play. But also playing a top 10 team, also playing a team that's tied for first in the conference, knowing that we're playing for establishment of first in the conference. All of those things built up, as well as that being the top 10, it all feeds into this being a huge, huge game. And we can't play the game on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. We have to play it on Saturday. So we're trying to keep our kids even keel and not get so juiced up during the week that when we go out on Saturday, emotionally we're drained. We want to have our emotions kick in at 6 o'clock Central Time when we have to play the football game.
What does the defense going to have to do to win this game?
Well, obviously stop the run. They got a great running back, and their quarterback does a good job of running the football as well. That's the thing that hurt us last year. There was too many times in the games last year they were second down and 3 or 4, and that opens up a lot of the playbook. We have to keep them in second and long situations. We have to keep them behind the chains. We can't give up any big plays. They got big play wide receivers that can get deep. We got to stay with those guys and not give up those long plays. Force them to be very methodical if they're going to make long drives and be perfect on their drives all the way down. So I think the biggest key is stopping their run and not giving them free possessions on the other side of the ball with turnovers and poor special team play.
Just looking back on last week, just knowing this game was around the corner, talk about how big it was for the guys to be focused on North Greenville and have that performance like they did.
Well, that's always a thing. Fortunately for us, North Greenville was undefeated in the conference too, and our guys realized that, and I think they went out and played that way. Had it been a team that maybe had not been in first, you worry about it a little bit more. But once we turned on the film of North Greenville, they saw how good they were. They realized where they were in the conference, and the focus was immediately there. Just like this week, the focus is there because they know how good West Florida is. They see that on film, and they know what happened to us last year. But we, again, can't worry about all the things that happened last year. We've got to worry about what we can do to prepare for this game and this time. So last week, yes, you always worry about that, but thank goodness North Greenville was a very good football team, and it caught our attention very well, and we played that way.
Is this one of those games that you have marked on the calendar, or is it just a regular game like any other Saturday?
For me, it's a regular game. I tell our guys all the time, you work so hard all year long, and you only have 11 guaranteed opportunities. That's not very much, and it's not like the difference that we have with baseball and basketball and all these different things is if you play in a baseball game and you lose to somebody, you get to play them the next day. In basketball, you may play them 2 or 3 weeks later. In football, you got one shot. So we don't overlook anybody. We don't want to look anybody. We've got 11 guaranteed opportunities to play that team just one time. We don't want to bypass that and not give them our best. And this one's no different. It just happens to be that they're a very good football team that is a defending runner-up in the national polls.
Coach, you've had 4 games this year with right around 500 yards. What's it going to take to do that, to duplicate that against their defense?
Continue to stay balanced. We've got to establish the run. Obviously, we've got to get Vaughn and Christian running the football very well and mix in with Willie carrying it and try to keep them off balance and who's carrying the football. And then also be very productive in our pass game. We've done a good job in our pass game of making catches and then breaking tackles and getting yardage after the catch, and that's been huge for us this year. So we've got to do that offensively. We got to stay balanced. We can't be one-dimensional and get them locked into what we're doing. If they take something away, we've got to find a way to make that adjustment where we can get that phase back, whether it's the run, the pass, the screens, or whatever it is.
Coach, except for a couple of our guys, it's going to be different. You're playing in the middle of a baseball diamond. Is that something that ever gets into consciousness?
We haven't mentioned a whole lot about it. We've talked with it a little bit about with our kickers because we want them to get out on the field early and kick off of the surface on their end of the field so they can get used to kicking off the different level of grass that they're going to be kicking on the other end. From a footwork standpoint, I've never been on that surface. Some of the guys that are in the program now have played down there 2 years ago. They kind of talked a little bit about it with some of our guys. So until we can get down there and see what that surface is and how it has grown, just looking at it on the field, it looks like it's in very good shape. The problem is we're probably going to be walking onto a field that's going to be very saturated, very wet. And we don't know how much rain they're getting down there. We don't know how well that field drains. Again, we play on the same surface as they do. It's not like they're playing on a dry field and we're playing on a wet field. We're all playing on the same surface. So being slow, being fast, it doesn't matter. You're all running on the same surface. All right, thank you guys.